Hi everyone! Welcome to our webinar, Certificates Management. Stop and worrying about it. I'm Thais and I would like to remind everyone that this session is being recorded and all of you who are here will receive the recording in the next few days. And I also ask you to remain in the mute mode and if you have any doubts, questions can be asked via the Q&A field and will be answered at the end of the webinar. In the webinar today, we will talk about how to avoid unavailability due to expiration or revocation of digital certificates. Also, how to reduce operation costs for managing and operating certificates. How to centralize and automatize the management of certificate managements, and how to be compliant with security regulations and policies. And for all that, today we have our cybersecurity expert, Davi Muniz. Hi, Davi. How are you?
Hey Thais, how are you? Good
I'm
morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on where our
yes,
audience is.
it's based. Yeah, I'm fine, Davi. And you? How are you today?
I'm also fine, very excited to talk about certificate management today.
Yeah, we'll have a lot to talk about, and
Mhm.
I'll let you do your magic now. Thanks, everyone. Have a good webinar.
Thank you, everyone. So, everybody probably knows me. My name is David Muniz, and I work here at senhasegura. And today, the topic of our webinar will be certificate management. Stopping worrying about it. So, without further ado, let's start. So this is our agenda for today. So first we'll take a look at the digital transformation process. And probably you have heard about that, and also the implication for the business. Then we'll see the concepts related to automation and the state of machine identity. We also cover the importance of digital certificate lifecycle management. Then we'll introduce Senha Segura Certificate Manager. We will also talk about how it works, the benefits and the results for organizations. And finally, we have a short hands-on of the tool to show and practice how it works. Okay? So digital transformation. Well, probably you've heard about this topic in most of our webinars here, and it's interesting to think how the internet and also computer systems have changed the way that we communicate and how we perform our daily tasks. Every day, we send dozens of emails. We access our bank accounts from our phones. We pay our bills. We buy things. Even going to the market today is something that we can do online. And especially me, that I'm very old school, but after the pandemic, I started to also go grocery online, which is something that I never thought about. Anyway, with this in mind, it is currently impossible to relate IT aspects that are not somehow associated with this whole digital transformation process. And some of those aspects includes, for example, the explosion of IoT devices, the industrial IoT, which is the how we call Industry 4.0. We have also cloud initiatives, DevOps. Well, those are some of the hottest IT topics that are somehow related to this current process. And one consequence of the digital transformation process is the growing number of connected devices in the environment. So we have talked already about Internet of Things, Industry 4.0. We got smart things such as smart cities, smart homes. All of those initiatives have introduced billions of connected devices. And according to Cisco, there were more than 20 billion connected devices last year. And the expectation is that this number will reach 29 billion by 2023, which means that it is going to be an increase of 45% compared to last year. And in order to communicate and to transfer data and to build trust and securely, those devices, they use machine identity. Those machine identities can be, for example, service accounts, and most of the service accounts are not properly monitored. And we also have what we call digital certificates. And we're going to explain a little bit more about them further on. But before that, I'm going to explain how we landed in the automation era, especially considering that digital certificates is a way of establishing trust in this called automation era. Well, I'll tell you a little history here. So we have the beginning of computer systems. The those mechanisms, though those access management mechanisms, they have evolved to provide not only authentication but also authorization in those systems. So 20 years ago, those mechanisms, they were basically based on an on-premises architecture. So we have admin accounts, network assets, servers, hypervisors. Those identities, those accesses, they we had few users but many privileges. And as time went by, especially 10 years ago, this approach has evolved to identity on cloud and virtual environments such as AWS, GCP, Azure, and most recently, with the introduction of IoT and DevOps environments, including camera, sensors, and new development approaches such as DevOps. This caused the number of connected devices, as we have seen in the previous slide, to grow significantly. And since those devices use machine identity, the number of those identities is also expected to grow significantly in those initiatives, DevOps, secrets management, cloud access, and also digital certificate management. An interesting fact that I'd like to bring here is that sorry, Gartner estimates that the number of those credentials has grown about 40% in the last 3 years. And still talking about cloud environments, the adoption of cloud DevOps is now even more intensified with people working remotely. And the trend is that this number will continue to grow. And in this kind of environment, machines, they are created, configured, and destroyed dynamically to meet, especially to meet business requirements. Well, the results of all the spread of those technologies is that we had the spread of digital certificates. Those digital certificates can be, for example, X 509 or SSL, TLS certificates. And the main purpose of those digital certificates is basically to establish trust in these digital environments. Not only that, sorry, digital certificates also allow um, the identification, authorization, and authentication in order to protect the infrastructure against unauthorized access, malicious agents. So, in this context, what should information security leaders do? Well, first of all, implement the proper means to protect those devices against unauthorized access and malicious agents. And well, using digital certificates is an effective means to ensure the authorization, the authentication of those devices in the infrastructure. But this approach has introduced a new attack surface in the environment. So the proper management of digital certificates is becoming a challenge for information security teams, and we know that, well, information security objectives and risks are increasingly associated with business risks. So currently, I don't know how many of you do that, and sorry that I forgot, but you can send your questions in the chat box. Tell us, what is the state of digital certificates in your environments? How many of them do you have in your environment? How do you manage them? Do you still use a spreadsheet? Do you work a specific tool? So let us know how you deal with all of those digital certificates in your company. So currently, lots of people use spreadsheets to uh, to manage the amount of those digital certificates, to have the proper visibility, to control the expiration dates, the due dates. Well, depending on the amount of digital certificates that you have in your environment, a spreadsheet may not be feasible. So information security teams need to think of a better way to have the proper management of those digital certificates in the environment. Besides that, I'd like also to bring here the changes that were at least boosted by the COVID-19 pandemic. So during this time, lots of companies, they accelerated their digitalization. So projects that had that were expected to be in effective in years, they have to be put in practice within months or even weeks. So whenever the companies, they accelerated this digitalization process, well, the first consequence of that is that the infrastructure got more exposed to an increased number of cyber attacks. And as I said before, cybersecurity risks are increasingly associated with business risks. So how and now that's the question you can ask me: how we I can ensure data protection and cybersecurity? And well, the first one is to secure and update network perimeter defenses along endpoints that access the networks, computers, mobile phones, and especially now with bring your own device, where people use their own devices, and some of those devices are not aligned, are not compliant with the information security best practices and also policies. The second recommendation here is to back up and secure business data for recovery in an event of a cyber attack or system failure. And this is specifically in the case of ransomware, for example. You need to have backups to ensure the recovery of the environment in case of these kind of cyber attacks. And the third, the last but not least, train employees to recognize and avoid those cyber threats like phishing attacks and malware. And I usually say that it's useless to implement the security, network perimeter, zero trust, you name it, all of these hype words, if you do not train and give the proper cybersecurity awareness to your employees and third parties and, well, partners and everyone that have access to your infrastructure. Okay, to make it simple now, we already know that digital certificates is a way to establish, to authenticate user machines, applications in the environment. So let's give a definition of what are digital certificates. Well, by definition, digital certificates can be considered as electronic documents that associate the identity of not only people, but organizations, devices, applications. It helps ensuring that one person is what they say they are. Digital certificates are commonly used to protect web servers, IoT devices, servers, services, including DevOps environments, for example. And there has also been an increase of personal certificates to user to perform access on government applications. And that can be, for example, well, at least here in Brazil, we can use digital certificates to fill out our tax returns, for example. So countries are increasingly using those certificates to perform tasks in the digital world. Well, this how is the dynamic of a digital certificates? Well, the same way that we have the combination of username password, which is and well, I think the oldest paradigm for identity verification. Now we have biometrics and MFA, for instance. So similar to those, digital certificates, they are a kind of credential that allows a person, organization, or device to exchange data in a secure way over the internet. And as other types of credentials, those digital certificates are also critical, especially because it allows to establish trust in the digital environment. Without certificates, it would be impossible to ensure that, for example, senhasegura.com is the website of Senhasegura, or even if it's a trusted site. So this level of trust is established to allow us to use critical services. Internet banking, government sites, as I said before, e-commerces, to receive medical prescriptions. Probably most of you have adopted telemedicine during the pandemic. So those kind of services, they have multiplied with this whole digital transformation process, and especially now with the pandemic. Who would say that now you can go to a doctor appointment without leaving your house? So this is a good way of thinking to move everything to the digital world. And the same way as in the physical world, we need to ensure security in this environment. So we already know that the number of devices and technology made the number of digital certificates explode. So managing those digital certificates has become a quite difficult task for information security teams. And the spreadsheets that I've mentioned before that were prior used to control aspects such as amount, visibility, and due dates, well, they're not feasible anymore. And some of the risks that are associated with the poor management of digital certificates, they might include decentralized certificates, which prevents administrators to have a full vision of the certificates that are installed in environment, and also increase the risks of downtime because of expiration. We can have certificates with no owners. We can have obsolete, expired, unknown, or even unknown certificates. And let's remember that it is impossible to know that it is impossible to protect what is not managed, and it is impossible to manage what is not known. So I think the key here is have full visibility of those certificates in your environments. Another challenge is time spent on certificate management. So can you imagine the time that you spend, for example, controlling a spreadsheet? Most of you can already think that this can be quite time consuming, and we know that the world is looking for operational efficiency. Another challenge that is associated with digital certificates is human errors. So a person can go on vacation and they can, for example, forget that a specific certificate will expire during their holidays. So can you imagine the consequences of if you have an e-commerce, for example, and you're on vacation on Black Friday or on a special on Mother's Day or on a time that you have a peak of activity. Well, another challenge is the breach of private keys in digital certificates. In this specific case that I brought here, NVIDIA code signing certificate was among the mountain of files that was stolen and leaked online by criminals who ransacked the GPU's giant's internal systems. And in this case, at least two binaries that were not developed by NVIDIA but signed with this stolen key, they have appeared in malware samples databases and also to perform cyber attacks. Another challenge is reputational risks. As I said before, can you imagine to your clients going to your website and checking that there is a certificate error? Are are they going to take a chance to give their credit card information or their personal information? We know that data is the new oil. Are they willing to do that? I think that's a good question to make. System downtime. So imagine during Black Friday, the operational losses if your e-commerce or your servers or your applications are not up and running to your customers. CA compromise. Well, the headline says for itself. Symantec, they had to sell their digital certificate business because, well, Google, they were not they after the sanctions that Google, especially Google, gave to Symantec in this case. So what are the results? Less revenue, less reputation, and less trust. So if those responsible for the certificate management in the organization forgets to renew or to revoke just one digital certificate on a device or a server, it makes it impossible. It makes it possible to affect the whole operation of a company, which affects critical operation and business continuity. Some interesting facts about digital certificates that I'd like to bring here. Well, the first one is that Gartner estimates that by the end of this year, organizations that leverage certificate management tools, they will suffer 90% less certificate-related issues than those companies that do not use this kind of tool. Besides that, those companies in information security teams, they will spend half the time managing those issues compared with organizations that use, for example, spreadsheet-based management methods. Another interesting fact that I want to bring during this webinar is that according to Gartner, security leaders that are able to reposition certificate management to a compelling business story, such as digital business and also trust enablement, the they will increase the program success of digital certificates by 60%. Today, this number is around 10%. And the last figure that I like to bring here is that the global losses that are associated with the improper machine identity, it is expected to reach $72 billion. After all of these facts, still according to Gartner, security leaders are often unaware of the scope or status of their certificate deployments until there's a downtime or data breaches caused by the improper digital certificate management. And not only that, well, as certificate scope expand to devices, containers, IoT, Well, they need to use automated certificate management to avert system outage and also to achieve operational efficiency. Well, it's a lot of figures, it's a lot of numbers. What should I do then? Well, Gartner advises information security leaders to use full lifecycle management or discovery centric tools to audit the number of deployed certificates and also to identify the potential risks from expiry and also overall certificate compliance. The second recommendation that I'd like to bring here is choose full lifecycle certificate management solutions to drive intelligent automation when dealing with large, complex, multi-vendor certificate environments. And well, probably you have more than one third party in your environment. So to deal with all of this complex situation, um, digital certificates tools are a way to provide a full lifecycle certificate management. And the third advice that I'd like to bring here is that ensure that certificate operations and management practices, crypto agility, and also align with the overall cybersecurity incident response plan. Well, there's a good report that Gartner brings called a Technology Insight for X509 Certificate Management. And that is a good read. And lots of insights that I brought to this webinar are from this document. Well, certificate management solutions, they are used to discover, identify, track, notify, and also renew and audit the installation of those certificates. And this kind of tools, the organization, they can use that with a critical insight, automation, and also management capabilities when dealing with a digital certificate. And in this case, if TLS integration is a fundamental part of your business strategy and also a competitive advantage in your market, well, please consider a certificate management vendor such as senhasegura that can deliver a full solution, which means that this tool will allow you and your organization to automatize and manage the entire certificate lifecycle to meet those business requirements. And how senhasegura certificate management work? Well, the senhasegura certificate manager is seamlessly integrated with the senhasegura security platform, and it allows the centralized management of the whole life cycle of digital certificates in the organization. In starting from the discovery of those certificates on sites, directories, web servers, and I must say that Senha Segura has industry recognized best in class discovery capabilities. We have been cited in Gartner's Magic Quadrant 2021 as best in class in our discovery capabilities. And the tool allows the automatic renew of those digital certificates using external, internal CAs, including self-signed as well. So the result that Senha Segura digital certificate manager brings less downtime, increased efficiency, and increased security to the environment. Now, let's see what are the main features that are offered by Senha Segura Certificate Manager. Well, the first one that I've said, scan discovery. So certificate management features offered by Senha Segura include the automated and recurrent discovery of certificates in the environment. So we can set up a discovery to occur in a specific day and a specific time, and probably during our hands-on, I will show a little bit more about this feature that allows also the discovery and the management of digital certificates in the environment. Well, senhasegura Certificate Manager supports all kinds of certificates: X509, TLS, TSL, A3, A1. So we support all kinds of certificate keys, algorithms, and also formats. The tool also allows administrators to use pre-registered organizations, and this is a feature that reduces the risk of errors when publishing those certificates and also offers a full control of due dates of managed certificates. Senhasegura Certificate Manager also integrated with the main CAs in the market, including self-signed. The next feature that I'd like to bring here is full visibility and traceability. So our reporting and dashboard capabilities allow the graphic views of the status of those certificates. Like, for example, we want to see which ones are use encryption that are non-compliant with our policies, or the ones that are expired. And Senha Segura allows, for example, the sending of those alerts not only through email, but also through Ciences log, and those alerts then can be sent customized in specific periods of times for specific people in the security teams. So in this case, we have a full visibility and control over due dates of certificates managed by the solution. The next feature offered by Senha Segura Certificate Management is the automation of certificate lifecycle management. So the tool allows the automatic certificate renewal and also publish. So this results in less operational time spent for managing certificates in the environment. And also, Senha Segura allows to automatically configure periodic requisition, renew, signature, and publishing of digital certificates, which prevents administrators to miss, for example, a due date, and also reduce operational risks. And finally, Senha Segura offers a flexible multi-level approval workflow to allow the organization to have full adherence to its security policies. So let's say, for example, that I want a manager and a coordinator to have approved the operation with certificates. So we offer a three-level approval workflow for your organization. The last feature that I'd like to bring here is segregation of duties. So it's important to say that the access granularity that is offered by Senha Segura has been considered by Forrester in its Wave for PIN report among the best in the PAN market. So it allows the users to be well segregated in the different access groups, and and implementing the privilege of list principle and also the principle of need to know. It's quite a challenge for organizations, we know about that. So that's why we offer the best segregation and granularity in the PAN market. Now that we have seen all the features that are offered by our solution, let's take a look at the benefits and results that this brings for organizations. Well, those are all the benefits or results that are brought by Senha Segura Certificate Management. So it allows reduced downtime caused by certificate expiration, and also reduce human error during this operation. And besides this, as we've seen before, Senha Segura automates the entire digital certificate lifecycle management. Another important aspect that I'd like to bring here is that the APIs that are offered by Senha Segura allows the complete integration with other solutions in the organization, and also brings an increased level of security of application with secure digital certificates. And all of these, needless to say, in compliance with your security requirements and also information security policies in your organization. Mm, Just close this. Uh, well, that means that when implementing those processes to proper manage digital certificates in the environment, Senha Segura brings full visibility of all certificates in the infrastructure. Then allowing also administrators to identify the most critical to business and also ensure that they are secure, active, and valid. Our differentials. So what is that Senha Segura brings that is different from other vendors? Well, the first one is that Senha Segura certificate management is fully integrated with Senha Segura PAN platform. That means that you don't have user friction. You don't have to worry about training. We have reduced training costs, especially because the interface is well integrated with the PAN platform. We have intuitive interface and the fastest deployment time. So Senha Segura can be deployed in less than a day. Well, usually in hours, organizations can deploy Senha Segura and lower operational costs and time to value. So, are you going to keep worrying about certificate management in your organization? Or just leave it, or are you going to leave it with us to proper manage our certificates and ensure maximum availability in your environment? Now let's go on practice. And of course, you can send your questions and your remarks during my presentation. Okay, let me just bring here. So probably I'll need to sign in again. Just a moment. Uh, let me see if I got a timeout. And I have had to I have to sign in again. Just a moment. Uh, so sign in. Now I'm logging in into Senha Segura PAN platform. Okay. So this is the PAN platform, and the first thing that I'd like to bring here is the discovery of certificates. Let me just close this. Let me stop the presentation. Much better. Sorry, guys. So let's first check out the best-in-class discovery capabilities in the market. Discovery here. Let me close some screens here in my computer. It's a bit slow. So first I go here. So this in this screen, I can set up the discovery of credentials and also digital certificates. So I can just add a new discovery. So in this case, I can select device. So I have just to check the name of the discovery, webinar search, for example, the initial IP. So I can select here what exactly I'm trying to search. So I check the certificates. Here at the certificate tab, I can tell what exactly the kind of certificates that I'd like to be scanned. And here I'll have additional configuration for each one of the different kinds of certificates that I select. So I can, there are a handful of certificates that I can configure here. So whenever I hit save, it will now save my discovery. And you can see here that the different discoveries, they run on specific days. So we have a discovery that runs on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, etc. And then I can see here the different certificates found in the environment. So I can view the log, synchronize data, and I can do lots of actions here, and I can import those certificates to my environment. The next use case that I want to bring here is when I create a request. So the life cycle of a certificate in my environment starts first with a request to generate a digital certificate. So I come here and then I hit new. Now I'm um, going to create a request for a digital certificate. So I can select the certificate type, domain extended organization. So let's hit domain. I select organization here, who it is the organization that is signing the digital certificate. And select senhasegura. And then I can just click on save. Oops. I add the organization. The common name I can select here. Uh, Test request demo cert. You can add specific tags, for example. Um let's say test webinar. So I can select the algorithm that is going to be used, the encryption key size, the signing algorithm as well, the expiration date. I can also select a password for the certificates, and then I can just click on save. So I have other requests that I have saved here. So whenever I generate a request, the next step is to sign a request. So I can click here and then request signature. So I can select self sign it, or if I use a specific CA, it's a webinar test. Then I select the reason. I can also use a specific ticket. For example, let's say Senha Segura integrates with ITSM tools. So the solution can check if there's a ticket in order to create these signature, these digital certificates. I can enter here a ticket number. So what Senha Segura will do, it will go on the ticket management solution, and it will be able to validate if the ticket is open and valid. And click on save, and then it will sign the digital certificate. So I already have here the ones that I have done before. So I can also can view the certificate, and I can finally publish this certificate in a specific device on a server or a device that is managed by Senha Segura. So I select here, extend web application. I can select a ticket that is associated with this, and I select also a server for this digital certificate to be installed. So I will install this certificate, publish this certificate in this server. So whenever I click on save, it will publish the certificate in this specific server. Now, the last thing that I'd like to bring here is how Senha Segura allows the centralized view of those digital certificates. So we have here the dashboard of certificates, and this is very interesting because it shows the number of certificates, the ones that are active, the ones that are inactive, unsecured. So this is a graphic or centralized overview of all certificates in your environment. The certificates that will expire, the certificates by states, which ones are active, inactive, expired, by system, by environment, by origin. So it gives lots of information for your companies to properly assess digital certificate management. And something very interesting here is that we offer a unique threat radar. And this is really cool because it shows a view of those certificates by the expiration dates, by the type of digital certificates in your environment. Okay, so I guess, oops, sorry. I guess this is all I had for today. And Thais, I'll get over to you.
Hi, Davi. Now we just need to see you. Thanks for the amazing content. It's always great to see how our pen
Sorry.
solution works. I think a lot of people wants to know more about how our pen solution works. So it's always nice to see it running. Thank you very much for the amazing content.
I also encourage everyone to consume the content that we have in our website. We have lots of materials about digital certificates. And of course, you can send your questions to us and we'll be happy to answer them.
Yeah, and you can always follow on our social media and on our blog. As Davi said, we have tons of content, and we are sure that all of you will like. So, thanks, Davi. I would like to thank everyone for your time and for our presence here. It's always great to know that more and more people and companies are concerned about cybersecurity.
Thank you very much, guys.
So, no more questions for today.
I can see one question here. Sorry about that. It says someone wants to know more about our discovery capabilities. Well, Senha Segura is able not only to discover digital certificates, but also DevOps containers, uh, credentials, and well, as I said before, it's impossible to protect what is not managed, and it is impossible to manage what is not known.
So, thank you, Davi. Thank you, everyone, for your time and for being here. And see you on our next webinar. Bye bye, guys.
Bye bye.